beyond borders.
Hello and welcome to Express News with me, Deepika, your daily half-an-hour window that brings you all the latest news and updates from the country and the world in 30 minutes. Let's begin. India hosts virtual G20 Leaders Summit chaired by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The summit was announced by the Indian Prime Minister during the closing session of the New Delhi G20 Summit in the month of September this year. Indian Prime Minister delivered remarks at the G20 Virtual Summit and said that today the world is full of challenges. It is mutual trust that binds us, connects us with each other. Speaking on artificial intelligence, India's Prime Minister said that the world is worried about the negative effects of artificial intelligence. India thinks that we have to work together on the global regulation for AI. Indian President Draupadi Murmu launched an education campaign called New Education for New India in India's eastern state of Odisha. The Indian President at the event said that moral education makes us aware of the life values of compassion, kindness, friendship and fraternity. With an aim to strengthen India-Seychelles bilateral relations, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Tourism of Seychelles, Sylvester Redigondo, arrived in India for the first time as Foreign Minister on Wednesday. Seychelles Minister will be meeting India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to discuss on further strengthening the partnership between two countries. The electoral atmosphere intensified as India's Prime Minister engaged in two spirited rallies on Wednesday in Sagwada and Kotri ahead of the assembly polls in Indian state of Rajasthan. In India's northern state of Uttarakhand, rescuers have successfully reached 45 meters inside the Silkyara tunnel. A 6-inch lifeline was facilitated to deliver food to the stranded workers. Evacuation efforts are being supported by Indian Air Force. Imphal successfully test-fired the extended-range BrahMos missile at the sea, emphasizing Navy's focus on combat readiness and self-reliant India's shipbuilding prowess. The second India-Nordic Baltic Business Enclave has begun today in India's New Delhi with an inaugural address by Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. The two-day conclave aims to bring together various stakeholders to facilitate talks on building new business partnerships and laying the groundwork for potential policy changes. The conclave will also focus on sustainability and global supply chain resilience. The event's first edition was held virtually in November 2020. Indian External Affairs Minister said that from India's perspective, the conclave represents an expanding footprint. He added that the event is also a reflection of globalized era. Dr. S. Jaishankar also said that Nordic and Baltic countries are an innovation and technological powerhouse, and India offers immense opportunities for tech partnership. Addressing the conclave in New Delhi, Finland's Trade Minister has highlighted the increasing people-to-people contacts between India and Finland and said that there is a lot of scope for further improvement. Sweden's Minister for Financial Markets also addressed the conclave and said that trade between India and Sweden is at an all-time high. Extending Indian Prime Minister's nationwide initiative, Punjab Governor has launched the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra in the state. India's Ministry of Textiles has launched an e-registration portal for a sari walkathon in New Delhi. The portal aims to promote the handloom sari culture of India. Year 2023 is being celebrated as International Year of Millets. In this regard, a 5-day ASEAN-India Millet Festival from the 22nd of November till the 26th of it is being organized in Jakarta, the capital city of Indonesia. Moving on to business and economy now, the Indian markets ended in green on Wednesday. Sensex rose 92.47 points to settle at 66,023. Nifty gained 28.45 points to 19,811.85. The Indian rupee fell 4 paise to close at 83.32 against the US dollar. Oil prices slipped slightly on Wednesday in quiet pre-US Thanksgiving holiday trading as the market awaited news on output cuts from the OPEC Plus producers group and looked for confirmation of a sharp build-up in the US crude stocks. Brent crude futures fell 52 cents to $81.93 a barrel. US West Texas Intermediate crude futures were down 49 cents to $77.28. India's central bank governor Shaktikanta Das said the perception of the world about India has changed in the last few years due to various factors, mainly on economic front, mentioning scenario of current account deficit. Addressing FIBAC annual banking conference, it was highlighted that the contemporary challenges before the world in the light of the Russia, Ukraine and Middle East crisis is the backdrop of COVID-19 pandemic. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation has fined Air India 1 million rupees for violating civil aviation requirements. The DGCA is the regulatory body for civil aviation in India. The dollar rebounded from a 2.5-month low on Wednesday as the minutes from the Federal Reserve's last meeting hinted that interest rates would likely remain restrictive for some time. The Russian ruble eased away from its strongest point since late June on Wednesday, still supported by foreign currency sales by exports, high interest rates and a relative recovery in oil prices. Israel and Hamas reach a breakthrough deal for a 4-day pause in conflict. 50 women and children held hostage in Gaza to be released. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said the government of Israel is obligated to return home all of the hostages. Australia to provide cyber health checks to small businesses, boost cyber law enforcement resources and make ransomware attacks mandatory reporting under a security overhaul unveiled on Wednesday after a string of attacks. The plan, worth $382 million, will also impose tougher cyber reporting rules on telecommunication firms seeking migrants to build the country's cybersecurity workforce in Australia and also set limits on data sharing between agencies to encourage reporting. Amsterdam voters cast their ballots on Wednesday in a nail-biting election in which opinion polls show at least 3 parties. A weighted poll published on the eve of the vote showed Geert Wilders' Freedom Party tied for the lead with the Conservative People's Party for Freedom and Democracy. Britain's King Charles proposed a toast to future Korean-British relations as he hosted South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol at a state banquet in Buckingham Palace. South Korean President Yoon to also hold talks with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and sign an accord on closer diplomatic ties. Sri Lanka's President Ranil Wickremesinghe has announced that the presidential and parliamentary elections in the island nation will be held next year. The South Asian country's president further assured that the 2 elections will not be postponed. He further said that the local and provincial council elections could be conducted the following year, adding that there were no issues in carrying it out. South Korea's Defense Minister Shin Won-sik visited the U.S. aircraft carrier Carl Vinson on Wednesday amid growing tensions in the Korean peninsula. South Korea moved to suspend on Wednesday part of a military agreement it signed with North Korea in 2018 after North Korea defied warnings from the United States and its allies and also launched a spy satellite. North Korea said it successfully placed its first spy satellite in orbit on Tuesday and vowed to launch more in the near future. The militaries of the Philippines and the United States launches a joint patrol in waters near Taiwan. The Philippine military set 2 FA-50 light combat aircraft and an A-29B Super Tucano light attack plane would participate in air exercises. Spain's newly sworn-in ministers arrived on Wednesday at Moncloa's palace to attend their first cabinet meeting after the consolidation of the new government. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, who won a vote in the parliament to clinch another term last week after months of negotiations, added 9 new faces to the 22-strong cabinet in the first meeting. Spanish police detained 3 individuals in an anti-terror investigation into the shooting of former head of Spain's Conservative People's Party in Catalonia. The suspects were arrested in Malaga and Granada, with police investigating potential link with foreign countries. Mexican authorities found 215 migrants, including 26 minors, locked in a trailer in the southern state of Veracruz. The Mexican migrants were later moved to the Acayucan migration station, where they underwent a medical checkup and received water and food. The European Parliament called for a global deal at the UN COP28 climate summit to phase out fossil fuels, aiming to add pressure on the countries to tackle the alarming carbon dioxide emitting oil and gas concerns. The push by European Union lawmakers came before nearly 200 countries meet to discuss stronger climate change action, aiming to tackle the extinction of fossil fuels as soon as possible. The El Niño phenomena and climate change are projected to bring heat waves and extreme weather to the southern hemisphere, with the possibility of record-breaking temperatures during this summer season. The current report claims that in the Eastern Africa regions, the combination of the human-driven climate change is expected to increase the likelihood of extreme rainfall events and floods, which might further lead to humid weathers. Earth's temperature briefly rose above the 2 degrees Celsius limit that scientists have been warning about for decades now. On the 17th of November, the global average temperatures were 2.6 degrees Celsius warmer than the pre-industrial level for the first time, according to a preliminary data released by the Copernicus Climate Change Services. China's authorities renewed a yellow alert for cold waves amid low temperatures forecasting in some parts of the country. From Tuesday to Friday, temperatures are expected to drop by 6 to 10 degrees Celsius in the middle and lower reaches of the northern areas in China. Gusts of strong winds are also expected to hit the aforementioned areas, mainly from Wednesday till Friday. Bolivian firefighters face a mammoth task to control the fires ravaging thousands of hectares in the northern Bolivia region. The fire have consumed over 3 million hectares of the Bolivian Amazon. According to the latest report from the Bolivian Environment Ministry, over 127,000 fire outbreaks were detected in this month. OpenAI said that it has reached an agreement for Sam Altman to return to OpenAI as the CEO, with the new initial board of Brett Taylor, Larry Summers and Adam D'Angelo. Founder, CEO of Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Changpeng Zhao, stepped down from his role after pleading guilty to breaking the U.S. anti-money laundering laws. U.S. officials announced a $4.3 settlement with Binance, resolving a year-long probe into the world's largest crypto exchange. Scientists have developed an artificial intelligence system capable of swiftly and accurately mapping the surface area and outlines of giant icebergs from satellite images. The new AI system has the potential to provide more detailed information about the shape and size of icebergs, moving beyond current mapping services, becoming a more efficient alternative. Music streaming application Spotify announced a new royalty system as well as penalties as it introduced and other new policies to counter streaming fraud. Songs on Spotify will now need 1,000 streams to earn royalties. According to Spotify data, of the 100 million songs on the platform, only about 37.5 million have more than 1,000 streams as of now. According to the data, of the 100 million songs on the platform, about 37.5 million have more than 1,000 streams as of now. The Australia federal government said it will also subject telecommunication firms to tougher cyber reporting rules. It will set the limits on inter-agency data sharing to encourage people to report incidents. India's top organization for indirect taxes has issued notices on unpaid taxes worth about $90 million to food tech companies Zomato and Swiggy. More than 1,000 citizens gathered in Busan to win the bid to host the 2030 World Expo. With around 7 days left before the selection vote, Busan citizens' aspiration to win the bid is higher than ever. Macau is hosting its first major international forum on the theme of timber. The Global Legal and Sustainable Timber Forum is a two-day event that features forums and related activities that focuses on the market demand in private timber sector. An exhibition in New York City called Astra Lumina has invited guests to walk through a celestial star at the Queen's Botanical Garden. The opening ceremony of 2023 Tanjong Tai Balloon Festival was held in full swing in Myanmar. The annual event is held to promote the cultural values of traditional festival of the several Shan ethnicities living in the state. A non-profit organization in Japan has elevated litter picking into a serious sport. The organization hosted the inaugural Spogumi World Cup to collect trash in the back streets of Tokyo. A flock of starlings was spotted forming a spectacular natural formation called murmuration over England's skies in a footage captured at Brockholes Nature Reserve near the city of Preston. Archaeologists have unearthed 5 mummies that are some 1,000 years old in the Peruvian capital of Lima. The finds allegedly belongs to the mummies of 4 children and an adult. Found at the Huacala, Florida archaeological site in the central Rimac Valley, the mummies belong to the pre-Inca culture, a group that inhabited the central coast of Peru from approximately 900 to 1450 AD. A chair signed by Elvis Presley is hitting the auction block for the first time in both Los Angeles and Orlando in the US. The sale, which is set to auction over 400 celebrity memorabilia, will also include an outfit worn by pop star Beyoncé, a jacket from Ed Sheeran, and a glove commissioned by rapper Offset. Google Arts and Culture launched the largest ever online exhibition on Hindi cinema on day 1 of the International Film Festival of India 2023's Film Bazaar. 15 films will be competing for the coveted Golden Peacock at the 54th International Film Festival of India. 12 international feature films and 3 Indian feature films are in the roster for the prize at the festival. Indian producer Karan Johar's banner Dharma Productions announced an untitled film with Ekta Kapoor's Balaji Motion Pictures starring Kartik Aaryan. The film will be directed by Sandeep Modi. Big Hit Music, the agency that manages K-pop band BTS, has announced that the remaining 4 members of the popular boy band have initiated their military enlistment as well. Members RM, Jimin, V and Jungkook have started their procedures to enlist in the mandatory military service. Member Jungkook penned a heartfelt letter to the band's fan base called The Army announcing his enlistment. The 26-year-old announced that he will be leaving for his mandatory military service in December. K-pop star G-Dragon would take strong legal action against those who posted malicious comments about him. The move comes days after South Korean news media reported that G-Dragon's hair and nails have tested negative for drugs. Korean girl group Blackpink attended the royal banquet at Buckingham Palace, where King Charles welcomed South Korean president on the first day of his state visit. English rock legends the Rolling Stones announced a North American tour. It will kick off in April 2024 at the NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. Netflix announced a new season of the show called Black Mirror. The dystopian show is renewed for its season 7 after a triumphant return in June after 4 years. Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio will co-star in the upcoming Karate Kid film. It is slated for a release on the 13th of December next year. Moving on to sports now, in a groundbreaking decision, the ICC announced equal pay for female match officials, signaling its commitment to gender equality in cricket. The ICC has also agreed to implement a trial of stop clock in men's ODI and T20 international cricket from December 2023 to April 2024. India will host Afghanistan for 3 2020 match series in January. This is the first time that the two sides will meet in a white ball series. The series will begin on the 11th of January in Mohali before moving to Indore for a match on the 14th of January. The final match will be in Bengaluru on the 17th of January. Indian QS Pankaj Advani won the World Billiards Championship title in Doha for a staggering 26th time, beating compatriot Saurav Kothari in the finals. India suffered a 0 6-3 loss against Asian champions Qatar in their second match of the 2026 FIFA World Cup second-round qualifier match. India head coach Igor Stimac said he would not consider the upcoming Asian Cup in Doha as an important tournament as the team is competing in continental showpiece without proper national camp. Nicolas Otamendi scored with a towering header to give Argentina a 1-0 away victory over Brazil in a World Cup qualifier. The match was delayed for half an hour after the Brazilian police charged Argentinian fans in response to fighting in the stands during the national anthems. And Wimbledon hosts All England Tennis Club said they were disappointed after the London Borough of Wandsworth refused planning permission for a massive expansion. With this, it's a wrap here on Express News for now, but news and updates will continue here on DD India. So don't go anywhere, keep watching and keep tracking DD India for all latest news and updates from the country and the world. Thank you so much for joining us right now. Namaskar.